Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is the Local Live.
Good evening, I'm Marcella Milder.
And I'm Kat Galliano, and welcome to the Local Live.
As every Thursday, we're here to bring you the latest news in the Larchmont and Mamaroneck communities.
Let's take a look at what we have coming up tonight.
What are the newest updates from Playland? Stay tuned for our roundtable discussion with Catherine Parker to find out.
Why is a member of the Harbor and Coastal Zone Management Commission, Clark Nuringer, in the news this week? More details in a bit.
What's the update on the local waterfront revitalization program? We have the scoop coming up.
Do you have a sweet tooth? Watch tonight to discover your new guilty pleasure on Palmer Avenue.
There's a killer on the loose in The Rascal, a new show coming to LMC-TV. Stay tuned to go behind the scenes.
And let's help Boris, our pet of the week, find a new home.
On July 23rd, the Mamaroneck Review published an article about an ethics complaint filed by former Democratic trustee Andres Bermudez-Hallstrom against former Democratic mayoral candidate and member of the village's Harbor and Coastal Zone Management Commission, Clark Nuringer. The Village of Mamaroneck Code of Ethics states that a person must not appear in front of any village board agency or commission as part of their employment within 2 years of leaving a municipal board. They are also barred from conducting any official village business with any village officer where special advantages due to prior relationships may be realized. In order to get a closer look of both sides of the story, the Local Live decided to reach Bermudez and Nuringer.
The first count of my complaint is benefit to a customer client, basically that he voted on TOD as a member of the HCZM while he had a client whose property was rezoned under the TOD law. And it doesn't matter whether there's a benefit to them or not, because there's the appearance, and a reasonable person could see a benefit or lack of benefit to an owner in the TOD zone. The second count is failing to recuse himself basically from that decision. The village code says if there's a conflict of interest, you have to recuse yourself from the discussion. He did not. He participated in this discussion and he voted. The third count is material public misstatements regarding his conflict. He, when asked about the conflict at the February HCZM meeting, he publicly lied about it. He never advised, he's obligated to advise the trustees when there's a conflict of interest, and he did not. I say that what he said at the HCZM meeting advises the Board of Trustees, but he lied, so therefore he was lying to the trustees. And I also think that that shows guilty conscience, because if he hadn't been doing something wrong, he had no reason to lie about the nature of his conflict. The fourth count is seeking special advantage. This is based on he's a member of the HCZM. He is going to other boards to argue against applications by other people. And in those meetings he says, I'm Clark Nuringer, I'm a member of the HCZM, but I'm here as a private citizen. He's making it clear that he's a member of the HCZM, making the appearance that he's seeking to have his word be taken over that of somebody who is not a member of the HCZM. Count 5 is a violation of the financial disclosure form. You're required to list your clients for the past 2 years. It's clear, based on his listing of 115 Hoyt, that he has not been following these requirements. And count 6 is prejudging of HCZM applications. He's being unethical in that he goes to other boards and says, I don't like this project, and then that project is before the HCZM. He doesn't recuse himself, and that gives the appearance that he has prejudged an application. That would be no different than a judge going to the press and saying, this person charged with a crime should definitely go to jail before that person has been tried, and then hearing that case in court.
In an email, Local Live producer Shayla Navarro asked Mr. Clark Nuringer for a statement on camera regarding the alleged ethical violation. He responded saying, Ms. Navarro, thank you very much for your invitation to do a statement on camera. However, there is no purpose since there is no complaint that anyone has seen. Have you? I haven't. As such, there is no confirmation that one even exists, since apparently no one in the village of Mamaroneck has seen it. Also, just to correct the record, I have not responded to an article in the paper as you suggest in your email. Considering the source of the accusation, no response is warranted. Sincerely, Clark Nuringer. Following up his response, LMC-TV producer Shayla Navarro sent the documents of the complaint that Bermudez sent to the local live to Nuringer. And in another email, Clark Nuringer responded again with, quote, "The village has not provided any documents to me. Also, my quote you noted was to the reporter in answer to a specific question. I never commented on the newspaper article." The quote that he is referring to was published in the Mamaroneck Review article, which says the following: Nuringer, who had yet to receive the ethics notification, said, "I'll get whatever paperwork and we will deal with it vigorously. In my estimation, we will expose Mr. Hallstrom for the fraud that he is."
The Board of Trustees can stop appointing him. Any citizen resident of the village can file an application to the second department to have him removed from office, which...
So if nobody do that,
if nobody does that, that's why I urge the Board of Ethics to do it. That said, if they refuse, I think there is ample evidence of malfeasance, which is the standard for removal under the Public Officers Law, and either myself or perhaps other citizen residents of this village will make the application.
So you want to take this to the courts?
I think it should be taken to the court because obviously the majority on the Board of Trustees does not care about his ethical lapses. They're willing to reappoint him to positions of power in this village, positions of great responsibility in this village, and positions of lesser responsibility because of his political connections, and I think it's time for the judicial branch to intervene.
As of now, the Board of Ethics has yet to set a date to discuss Nuringer's case, and we will continue to follow the story to see the full interview with Andres Bermudez and learn more about the story. Visit www.lmctv.org. The Local Waterfront Revitalization Program, or LWRP, was first adopted by the Village of Mamaroneck in 1984 and was created to guide coastline developments and environmental preservation. In December of 2014, Mamaroneck commissioned BFJ Planning, a New York-based consulting firm, to draft an updated version of the LWRP. BFJ's draft cost the village more than $50,000 and included 13 policies. Recently, the Village of Mamaroneck's Harbor and Coastal Zone Management Commission, which includes a group of 36 residents, submitted its own version of an updated LWRP. Beginning in January of 2015, 12 public meetings were held where the residents worked in groups to tackle each of the original 44 policies on the document and update them one by one. This is the update from the president of the HCZM herself.
The LWRP update report. At the June meeting, this commission voted to forward the results of the working group to the Board of Trustees for their consideration. I spoke at the work session of the Board of Trustees on July 6th, and they'll review the draft.
According to the Mamaroneck Review, there are some arguments against this updated document by the HCZM Commission. This included potential conflicts of interest between some of the residents making up the working group and the LWRP. According to the review article, Mayor Rosenblum disagreed with the write-up, not liking some of the glaring changes made to the document, including but not limiting the number of policies down to 13, like the BFJ draft. The Commission's version of the updated LWRP was sent to the State Department for review. According to the article, this document will be subject to change and input from public hearings are expected to start in September. Now let's turn to Sarah Marsh to see what interesting stories we found in our local media this week. Following an issue we've reported on in the past, this week, the Mamaroneck Review summarized what has been happening with the village's parking problems. The article states that an ad hoc committee consisting of members of the Village of Mamaroneck has been formed in an effort to find a solution to Mamaroneck Avenue's parking issues. The committee plans to propose a parking system that best fits the village and present issues in an unbiased manner.
Among the issues the committee has discussed is the implementation of multi-space meters that were purchased by the village in May and the backlash it received from the public. The committee, which was formed on June 22nd, has met twice and hopes to carefully formulate solutions to Mamaroneck Avenue's parking issues. This Saturday, the Larchmont Shore Club and the Larchmont Yacht Club hosted a Swim Across America event to raise money to fight cancer. Originally formed in 1987 as Swim Across Long Island Sound, the event has grown and now takes place in 5 states. Swimmers, kayakers, and boaters all participated in the event, which raised over half its goal of $1 million. For more information, check out the Mamaroneck Daily Voice. Who keeps the trails of Larchmont and Mamaroneck looking so nice during the summer months? The Town of Mamaroneck Conservation Department hires local students known as the Conservation Corps to keep the trails clean and accessible. Young adults between the ages of 16 and 21 can apply, and next summer's application is already available on the Town of Mamaroneck's website for those interested in joining the team. See the loop for the full story. Hot dogs have always been a summer favorite. As July is National Hot Dog Month, WCBS-FM is having a contest to determine the best hot dogs in the tri-state area. Mamaroneck's very own and very delicious Walter's Hot Dog Stand has been nominated and is currently in first place. Go to WCBS-FM's website to vote. And don't forget, Family Fun Night is coming up and will take place on Sunday, August 9th at the Mamaroneck Harbor. Bring your friends and family for a night filled with music, dancing, and of course, lots of fun. And that's all for this week. I'm Sarah Marsh, and this is what was trending in the media.
We just want to congratulate Walters for being the best hot dog in the tri-state area right here in our hometown. So, Marcella, I think we got to go hit up Walters after this, right?
Yeah, definitely. Best hot dogs. Well, coming up next, it's time for our local live roundtable. Tonight, we're discussing what's in store for Playland. You can join the conversation by phone, email, or tweet.
But first, stay tuned for our weekly trivia question.
What to do with Playland? That's been on the county's agenda for at least the last 5 years. Keep it or sell it? Have the county run it or contract it out? Build a field house or not? Add parking or not? There have been a lot of ups and downs, but there may now be a plan. I'm Maura Carlin, and I'm joined by County Legislator Catherine Parker, and she's going to tell us where things stand and what we can expect. She'll answer your questions and mine. As always, you can join the conversation by phone, email, or tweet. The contact information's on your screen. Catherine, thanks for joining me.
Oh, I'm really happy to be here, especially to talk about Playland.
Do we have a big plan? Can Zoltar tell us what's in the future?
That's very good. Yes, there is a big plan. We have a management agreement with Standard Amusements to start running Playland effective October 31st of this year, and so they'll be ready to hit the ground then. They'll have Playland up and running for 2016. And I really think this is great news, having a public-private partnership where the county retains ownership because it's parkland. So we really value our parkland. We value Playland as an amusement park, and to have the expertise of Jack Falfus, who's one of the people associated with Standard Amusements, who has many years of experience and expertise running amusement parks, I think is terrific. And they will really, I think, do a tremendous job to help reinvigorate Playland and bring a lot of energy back to the park.
So what does the county get in exchange for giving them the management agreement?
Sure. Well, Playland over the years, and I mean many, many years, unfortunately has not really had all the infrastructure restoration that it has really needed. So the first thing that we get is Standard Amusements in the first 3 years is going to put $25 million into Playland. In restoration. I mean, for instance, if you look at Playland today, as beautiful as it is, you will see a lot of chipping paint, and it really looks like it needs more than just a one coat. It needs a lot of attention. They're planning on spending almost $500,000 in the first year alone, just on painting the place. They also will bring in a couple of new rides, which I think will be good to, again, give some vitality and energy and something new for people.
Will they be replacing rides? Like, can you tell us what's leaving?
They haven't made that final call yet. They are going to be taking a look at some of the rides. Mostly, I think, some rides in Kiddieland, but some of the rides that are towards the back of the park.
Will they be taking away more than 3 rides to put in 3 new ones? I guess I just assumed 3 would replace 3.
I think that's still yet to be determined, how many they'll remove versus how many they'll bring in. But I think that as it is right now, there's room to sort of reconfigure a little bit. They're not going to reduce the footprint of the park, the amusement park itself, if that's what you're
No, I meant
wondering.
the number of rides.
Yeah, the number of rides I think will have, certainly for the footprint, will be a number probably close to where we are right now. But again, having something new for people that have been going year after year, like I have since I was little, growing up in Westchester, it's always been a place that I've really treasured. I think will be great, that we will be able to have something that'll, again, bring something new for those that have come year after year.
And what about payments to the county?
So we do get an annual payment of $300,000.
Does that go into the general coffers, or is that allocated to something?
It does go into the general coffers, and if you think in terms of, and I'm not talking about the debt service that we end up having to pay for Playland, which is what puts Playland, when you hear this number like, oh, Playland lost $5 million, much of what we're referring to in that big number is the debt service to do some major restoration projects over the years, when we did the music tower or when we purchased rides. But the actual, if you look at the operations, last year we had a very good summer in that the weather was agreeable, and certainly it's a business that does rely, it's very weather dependent. So we had a good summer, but yet, forgetting debt service, we still were not able to make a profit. We still lost money last year. Not a whole lot of money. We lost just under $500,000, but this will take us from that negative $500,000 to plus side $300,000. So I think that's really a good move and going in the right direction. And then incrementally, it will increase, by the cost of living for, the 15 years of the agreement.
And I think I understand that you get a portion of net operating profits. I assume, after all the expenses, however that's calculated.
And that's always, certainly we want Standard Amusements to be able to make a profit. And so our percentage is 7.5%. And I think they have a lot of work ahead of them to get to that place. But certainly I hope for all our sakes that they're very successful.
And how's the debt going to be paid down?
The debt's going to be paid down. I mean, it's on a schedule. And so by, I think it's 2023, I think it's what we are carrying on the books right now will be gone. The other side of the coin, though, is that one of the things that was very important in this management agreement is that not only are we going to get Standard Amusements to really make some investment in the park, but Playland does need further investment than just the initial $25 million. We still have work from Sandy that hasn't been completed. The back boardwalk is still missing. We also need to do some work just on the entrance to Playland, on the Playland Parkway. We have an electrical issue that has caused those parkway lights to be out for quite some time. Those, we actually have a bond act that will be before the board in the next few weeks, and that work will get started.
Now, did I understand correctly that Standard Amusements is to pay the county an upfront $2 million?
Yes, it's $2.25 million, and that is going to be paid Part of it was $500,000 was done at the initial signing, which was back in April of this year. Then October 31st, the rest of the payment comes in. And in the meantime, that money is in an escrow account. So we do get an initial
money
cash
earmarked?
payment. It's not earmarked for anything other than going back into the general fund. But it does, again, give money to Westchester County that would be directly tied, coming from this agreement with Playland.
Okay, now, the agreement was signed by the county executive. The county legislators approved it, but you just said that it's not final until October 31st.
That's correct.
What happens between now and then?
Let's hope not buyer's remorse. That's a great question, because certainly what's happening right now is Standard Amusements is actually on the ground shadowing our management at Playland. They actually have offices that are set up there, and so they're doing a full inventory of all the rides and really what the real needs are.
So due diligence, in effect.
Absolutely. And so,
are they going to come back for a price adjustment is where I'm going.
Yeah, and that's a good question. Certainly neither party, this was one of my concerns about this process. You're right that this has been going on for such a long time. The county executive had first announced the idea of this request for proposals to reinvent Playland back in early 2010.
Right.
And here we are, 2015. And then last year, after the plan with Sustainable Playland fell apart, my hope had been that we had sort of learned going through that process that really the executive branch and the legislative branch for Westchester County should be acting
together.
Together. That was my hope, and I had stated that publicly many times that I had really hoped that we would be able to move in concert. But the executive branch decided no, that when you have negotiations with a vendor, that they needed to have that under a cone of silence, shall we say. So we were handed the agreement after they had already negotiated. And it really seemed to me that neither side, neither the administration nor Standard Amusements, was really looking to reopen those negotiations. So while the legislators had some concerns that kind of jumped out to us, labor was one concern. Another,
I mean, keeping the existing workforce, or
right. Protecting our workforce. Certainly there was a concern related, being the legislator that represents RYE. In the agreement itself, there was discussion for a temporary field. And that certainly was, called to me like a lightning bolt.
Well, I'm going to actually interrupt you because that was one of the questions I have. One of the issues that went on in the former proposals, there was a proposal for a field house that there was a lot of opposition to that. I gather there won't be any field house.
No.
But are there going to be more fields?
No.
None.
No, Standard Amusements has been very clear, and they were willing, in fact, when we were meeting with them when the management agreement was first announced, they were very clear that they had actually not requested that the temporary fields be part of the management agreement. That was something that the administration, the county administration, had put into the agreement. What they were asked to do was study that. And they felt that given all the conversation on fields and field houses last year, that had been studied and it really was not part of their plan.
So they were punting on that one. What about RYE? What has been RYE's position about this?
About the agreement itself? So RYE has been fairly agreeable to the management agreement. We actually had city officials in to our Parks Committee meetings for discussions. Their concerns obviously were related to the field. Their concerns were also related to when, again, this also echoes back to what happened with Sustainable Playland. The discussion of a huge field house in the parking lot created a sense of, well, whose jurisdiction would it be to look at an actual creating a new building on that footprint.
It got very complicated.
Yeah, and I'm not a lawyer, but I will tell you that lawyers on both sides seem to feel that certainly the jurisdiction would be there. So Westchester County, the law department said, no, this is our Westchester County Park, so it's our jurisdiction. Rye's attorney said, no, I think it's actually, Rye can have a say in this. So, so I will tell you that I'm happy that Standard Amusements has no intention for building a field house, and certainly their plan, as they like to say, it's very amusement park centric. So really what they're going to be doing is within that existing footprint.
Now, have you received any community comment on this?
Yes, for the most part, I think people have been in support of it, and you know, and then there are people who I think have a hard time with change in general, and so anytime there's something new, I think it can be sort of scary to some people. So certainly, it's you know, there's no plan, by the way, that I think you would get 100% agreement. And if you talk to people today, you will absolutely hear a spectrum of opinion. Right, everything from, I think it's a waste of space and you should be able to build homes and condos and, you know, they should share in the tax levy, to it should be maintained exactly as it is and it's a treasure and we should value this. So
Okay,
it really runs the spectrum.
Let me take you back a couple of years, because when I was researching Standard Amusements, this isn't their first time trying to get involved with Playland.
No, they submitted for that original request for proposals back in 2011, and you know, they have. I give them a lot of credit for having, you know, stuck it out to the end, because who would have guessed, you know, that this would have been a 5-year process. No, they've been very interested, and Jack Falvis, again, you know, I keep talking about him because I think he is a very important piece of this. He has really a stellar reputation in the amusement park industry. He ran a small regional amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio, that when it comes to well-run regional amusement parks is considered, bar none, the best. And the things that they're known for, that amusement park is known for, are things that they want to do at Playland. What do they want to do? They really believe that to make an amusement park successful, you do have to have some other businesses that will bring people down, and they do see it as very food-centric. And you know, you can have restaurants that would be year-round, and you can also do things that would be very specific or identifiable to the region.
Such as?
Well, you know, I don't know that they've spoken with Walter's Hot Dogs, but I will tell you that Walter's Hot Dogs would be a perfect fit for their idea at Playland. And I do think that there are some other businesses that are local that maybe will fit into their plan. I know that that's really where they want to focus. Their interests are, again, giving people more options at Playland for casual dining, and even maybe doing a place by the pool, where the pool is right now, where they would have a catering facility, and they could even, you know, do some parties there and catered affairs. So I think that that sounds to me like something that I think a lot of people would be very excited about.
But let me ask you this about that original proposal that they made in 11 or 12. One of the things that struck me was that they were offering an upfront $6 million instead of $2 million.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I would love to know that very same question. And I'll tell you something. In the budget for 2015, I had, you know, I've said this before, and the county budget needs a lot of creative thinking to really keep that. If, you know, the plan is to keep the tax levy flat, then you really have to find new ways to either reduce your expenses or increase your revenue. So one of the things that I had hoped to put into the 2015 budget was revenue based on a management agreement, and I was being very conservative, and I said the number should be $4 million. knowing that, and again, not knowing that it was, whether it was standard or one of the other top proposals, but yes, it would have been nice. I don't know what happened because, again, there was no collaboration. And so why they ended up from 6 down to
You don't.
No.
You don't know. Okay. One of the big concerns people have had about Playland over the years is safety. Do you know if there's any specific plan that Standard Amusements or the county has to make sure every ride is safe and that the park is secure for everyone who comes?
So after those incidents that happened in the early 2000s, you know, it was like 3 years in a row where there were some accidents that happened. I think the county took it upon itself, first of all, to really go over the procedures and really figure out where they could tighten things up to make it safer. And I think that the county has achieved that. That being said, I also think, again, the management with Standard Amusements and having somebody like a Jack Felthus, who will be moving to Rye on the ground and there, who has this great reputation, he wouldn't want to have his reputation all of a sudden go by the wayside because of something like a terrible accident or tragedy. So I really believe that they're going to put a premium on that, and I think we can all feel rest assured that, you know, they will be, you know, running the park at really a top-notch level.
Okay. Now, I don't recall how it's been in the past, but this year at Playland, there's parking fees, and you pay an admission fee that gets you all the rides unless you just want to be the parent supervising, in which case, if you're not a county resident, you have to pay an amount just to watch your kids. Is that fee structure expected to stay the same?
Some things are going to change about the fee structure, and I can tell you this much. They had a map that showed the area where people come from. And on the map, you could see really the people closest to Playland in the Sound Shore area are going to Playland. And most of the people that are going, we often buy what are called season passes. And really that pays for itself within a couple of visits. So if you want to go up after dinner just on a Friday night, watch the fireworks, do a couple of rides, it's a great deal. So they have said that they are going to actually reduce the rate of the season pass. That sounds pretty good.
But something else is going up.
Yeah, I think that the other end of the spectrum, the one-off, you know, they want to make this a very special place that for those of us that are within close distance, and by that I mean almost anybody in Westchester County. We're really lucky to have this beautiful amusement park right here in our backyard. And I think they really want to entice Westchester County residents to come and use your park. So I think they're going to make a real push to make that season pass the preferred choice. And yes, the one-off visit will probably be a more, you know, probably it's $25 today, it may go to $30. Not a huge increase, but an increase nevertheless. And why is that? Well, they showed us a chart that had some other amusement parks in the region, not far away, that again, they're
the comps.
Yeah, and it seems like really we were at the very low end. So, and they're going to add more value in. One of the things that Jack Felthus talked to me and talked to the committee about that I thought sounded really good. You know, we've got this band shell in the middle of the park, and he really sees that as something that's very underutilized. And one of the things that he has thought, he has a relationship with one of the major cruise lines, and having them try out their shows at Playland before they go on the cruise. And so you would have that as just part of your ticket price. So there'd be more entertainment, and I think that that sounds like a you know, again, I think it's all in the sense of the value. Was that day at Playland worth it? And so they're thinking of all the ways that you can really have a fantastic day at Playland.
We are running out of time. We should just mention that the carousel hit its 100th birthday.
Yes.
Which is very exciting.
It is, and that carousel, by the way, each of those horses is about $32,000.
Really?
Yes.
And I assume whatever painting's going to be done, they will be restored and not just painted over.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Catherine, thank you so much for joining us and updating us on Playland.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us. Coming up, you'll find our trivia answer and more community stories.
You're watching The Local Live,
The only news show on Larchmont and Mamaroneck
on LMC-TV.
A new candy store has arrived on Palmer Avenue in Larchmont. Let's find out what Sweets has to offer.
We're here at Sweets, the new candy store on Palmer Avenue in Larchmont. Let's take a look inside. Sweets is a second store of its kind, with its counterpart in Litchfield, Connecticut. This mom and daughter team have come to Palmer Avenue to introduce Larchmont to some unique candy.
Hi, my name is Dana Schulman. I'm the owner of Sweets. And it started about 6 years ago as a pop-up store for the holidays. We decided to open up a second location. Larchmont was the obvious place to open up, and it's just been terrific. It's been phenomenal. We have a lot of candies that not most candy stores have. We've tried to bring in small artisanal candy makers across the country that you just don't find in any place. We have a very wide selection of licorice, which a lot of people don't have. The gummies, the sixlets, which are what I call the new M&Ms. The other thing that is kind of unique is the sugar-free gum that we have. And it has a message, so proceeds go to child abuse programs, child hunger programs, bullying programs. So
You can pop in, say hi, and get a treat. But Sweets also loves to do party packages and will cater to your event's needs.
I think that Sweets in Larchmont is definitely going to be more of a event company. We're doing a lot of bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and birthday parties and weddings.
I strongly, and so does Tracy, believe in giving back to the community. So we're involved in the Chamber of Commerce and a lot of different organizations here to help, because we like to give back a little bit to the community that helps support us. So it is a very important thing that we do.
The store is both beautiful and will make your mouth water, with all the candy and chocolate displayed. So come check out Sweets on Palmer Avenue. One of our own local live producers has a new show coming to LMC-TV. Let's take a look behind the scenes of The Rascal. We're here with Andre Gordon, director, writer, and producer of the new show The Rascal, coming to LMC-TV. Let's take a look and find out more. This is the first show of its kind on LMC-TV. It's scripted, has visual effects, action sequences, and is produced by a 15-year-old. The show was created by Andre Gordon and Felix Giordano last summer, and they filmed the first scene last August.
The show is about a monster that has been killing people, and the detectives and the police are trying to connect all these different murders to find out how to stop the monster and what it is.
Andre has worked for LMC-TV for 4 years, earning 3 awards, including Volunteer of the Year. Andre has been recently recognized by the Alliance for Community Media for his production of Motions and History of the Sound Shore, which he co-produced with LMC-TV studio production manager Dina Schumacher.
Yep. Hi, I'm Mike Orsino, and I'm playing Ben Radner. The lead detective. We're trying to figure out this monster thing and where he is and how to locate him.
Well, we can't have it going around killing people. We need to stop it. Let's send out a search party into the forest.
We're gonna go after it? No, we have a great day for shooting, and I'm looking forward to seeing it on TV.
Hi, my name is Sarah Olfinger, and I'm Juliet in The Rascals. I am one of the characters that dies from The Rascals, and it's It's really exciting because it's a whole new experience with all the cameras and everything.
Thanks for tuning in. To learn more, visit therascallmc.tv.webs.com. I'm Martella Milder with the Local Live.
Did you like the behind the scenes? Now we have an exclusive sneak peek of the premiere just for you guys.
I spoke to the woman who called it in. She said she heard a scream and saw a little girl run out of the house. Here's a picture.
Thank you.
I think you should come see this. There's no sign of the body.
It's like it just...
It disappeared. She didn't say the girl came out with the body, did she?
No? Search the house. I want to find that girl.
Okay.
Now let's meet Boris. He is the perfect pup for you if you love to take long walks and he never pulls and he can walk forever. Boris loves to snuggle. He's about 15 pounds and around a year and a half. If you want to adopt this cutie pie, please contact Pet Rescue at www.newyork-petrescue.org.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of The Local Live. It's been a pleasure, as always, to keep you updated with your community news.
Don't forget to check out our website for more news and community programming at www.lmctv.org. And for internships and volunteer opportunities, please write us at thelocallive@lmc.org.
That's the news for today. I'm Martella Milder.
And I'm Kat Galliano. See you next week.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.